a special behind the scenes event here for you. Today, we're going to take a tour of the UW campus and see what is happening in the virtual world at UW. We've got some amazing student tour guides here to help us out. This is a great experience for everyone. Thank you all for joining us today. We do have a couple of announcements in DMI world about what's happening in our organization. Hope you can join us. Not only you joined us for this event, but we've got a couple other great events in the near future. Next week, a week from today, on the 25th of March at 8 a.m., we are honored to have WEDC, Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation, Secretary and CEO Missy Hughes joining us for a virtual What's Up Downtown breakfast. She's going to talk about COVID relief, the economy, and answer your questions as well. Hope you can join us again the 25th of March at 8 a.m. We also have our next virtual New Faces, New Places with our friends from Piano Fondue. So they'll be performing songs. Do join us on the 8th of April at 4 p.m. I want to take a moment to thank all of our sponsors. We would not be here today without you guys. So huge thank you to our friend Hush Blackwell. Thank you, Paul and Mindy and the whole team at Hush Blackwell. We really are appreciative. And the friends, Jason and everyone at Thompson Investment Management. Thank you so much for your continued support of Behind the Scenes. And our premier, a leading sponsor for today is our strong friend. I don't know, I was going to say no friend. Trisha, they are a longtime friend of UW with many projects, including the recently completed Meat Sciences Building, the amazing work on UW Fieldhouse, constant work around campus, and also we have the Hamill Music Center, which we hope we can all go back to this summer and hear live concerts, and they just won the contract for the new natatorium. So I am honored to have our good friend Trisha Braun here today to say a few words about JP Cullen. Trisha, how are you doing this afternoon?
I'm good. Thank you, Jason. That was great. You actually did a lot of my intro for me. But no, just really to reiterate, we are very proud of our relationship with Downtown Madison, Inc. and the work that you all do to keep one of our home cities bright and vibrant, looking ahead for years to come. And really, the UW-Madison campus, the topic today is incredibly near and dear to our hearts. JP Cullen has been around since 1892. And our relationship with the campus dates back to 1925 when we were given the contract to add a badly needed theater onto Bastion Hall. And so after that project, our logo quickly was scattered throughout the campus, and as Jason mentioned, still is today. Another fun fact with UW-Madison is that we also did the installation of all the Buc-ee's that were placed around the area and became quite famous a couple of years ago. So maybe not quite as long-standing as a building, but still something that we thought was pretty cool to be part of. In my role, I actually focus on the industrial clients. So I'd be remiss not to give my division a plug and the work that we do, because as you can imagine, when we're installing high-tech production and processing lines, that's not something the company really wants to promote because it's a competitive advantage for them. So, it's one of those things that not many people know that we do, even though we are working for Fortune 500 companies across the US within their facilities. So with that, again, glad to be here today. JP Cullen is glad to be part of this, and I look forward to the tour. So thank you.
Trisha, thank you very much, and thanks to our friends at JP Cullen, to our board member George, to Jeannie, to Sean, to the whole team. Thank you. I have to admit, my hands are getting a little sweaty just from the picture of your background. I don't know whoever took that photo, but you guys also just did some work at the top of the Capitol Dome too. So you really do some projects.
Yeah, I mean, they're called the tough job experts for a while, and I do not have the stomach to do any of that whatsoever. So I think it's extra cool just because of that.
I agreed, but that does not work for me. Seriously, I'm queasy just looking at your background.
I'll take my video off.
No, I'm just teasing. I'm just teasing. We are now going to get into the meat of the event. We are so excited to have our great friends at the Campus and Visitor Center here at UW to have a tour of the campus. And we have the good fortune of having 4 students today that are going to be helping us out with the tour. I think this is a great experience for everyone. We're excited to get to meet them. We're going to kick it off with tour guide Sophie. Sophie, it's all yours. Enjoy the tour, everybody.
Awesome. Hi, everybody. Are you all able to see my screen? Looks good? Awesome. Then I'll get started. All right. So hi, it's great to have all of you here. Welcome to our virtual University of Wisconsin-Madison campus tour. We're very excited to be giving this tour to all of you today. My name is Sophie, and I am one of the tour guide coordinators here with Campus and Visitor Relations, and I will be serving as the host today for the tour. So I'm first going to explain a little bit about how our session works. This is going to be a 30-minute virtual tour experience led by some of our fantastic student tour guides. Today's tour will cover historical, cultural, and academic aspects of campus. All attendees today have joined with muted and with your video off, but we do encourage participation in the Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen. We have a couple tour guides in the background who are going to be there to help answer some of your questions, and we also will save some of them for the end if you would like to get some student perspective on any of the questions that you may have. Additionally, we will be posting some resource links in the chat during the tour. We recommend you can bookmark those or copy the links if you want to check them out later. But without further ado, let's get started and let you meet the team. So now we are going to introduce both of our tour guides, and Lucia will be going first.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our virtual tour. My name is Lucia. I am a sophomore from Boston, Massachusetts. I'm triple majoring in economics, political science, and classical humanities. I'm also pursuing a certificate in public policy. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I am going to be one of your tour guides today.
And hello everyone, my name is Chelsea. I use she, her, hers pronouns. I'm going to be your other tour guide for today. I am major in biochemistry and Spanish, and I'm also getting a certificate in computer science. And I'm a third-year student, and I'm originally from Beijing, China, which I like to joke I'm just a little bit far from here.
And hi everyone, my name is Dana. I'm a sophomore studying political science and English. I use she, her pronouns. I'm originally from River Falls, Wisconsin, which is about 30 minutes away from the Twin Cities. And today I'll be serving as a question master. So when you leave those questions in the Q&A feature, I will be helping to answer them.
And hi everyone, my name is Mary. I'm a senior studying international studies and economics with certificates or minors in French and math. And I'm originally from Brookfield, Wisconsin. And similar to Dana, I'm going to be just sitting in the background answering any questions that you have.
Awesome, thank you so much, tour guides. I guess I'll give my full introduction too. I forgot to do that before, but my name is Sophie. Like I said, I am a coordinator with the program. I am originally from Appleton, Wisconsin, and I am a senior studying industrial engineering and Chicana Latina studies. And we are really excited to get to know you all a little bit. So we have a couple fun questions that we are going to use to get to know you. If you go down to the chat feature at the bottom of the screen, you'll be able to interact with our questions. So the first one that we have for all of you is, what is your favorite City of Madison activity or event? We'll also type that in the chat if you would like to read it. But again, what's your favorite City of Madison activity or event? Farmers Market, yes, that's one of my favorite. Concerts on the Square, it's another great one. Enjoying time on the terrace. Students love that. Football Saturdays, awesome. Jazz at 5, boating on the lakes, bike paths, so many great opportunities. That's awesome. All right, and then we have one more question for you all. What is one thing new students should know about the City of Madison? We interact a lot with prospective and admitted students, so this is kind of a fun question to get a little bit of a different perspective of what do you think they should know? Taking advantage of the lakes, definitely. Biking, nature, bring a bike, that's a good one. Summer, yes, We always like to say in our tours that it's great to spend at least one summer in the city of Madison. You kind of have to do it once. It's on a lot of people's Badger bucket list. Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, everyone. And then moving forward, feel free to keep using that Q&A feature if you have any additional questions for our student tour guides. Before we begin the tour, we would like to do a land acknowledgement and talk a little bit about what came before this university on this beautiful land. So on behalf of UW-Madison Campus and Visitor Relations, I ask that you join me in acknowledging that our University of Wisconsin-Madison campus here on the shores of Waukesha or Lake Mendota resides within the sacred homeland of the Ho-Chunk people, a place they call Dejop, or Four Lakes. And as the reach of the university extends to the far corners of our state, we also respectfully recognize the inherent sovereignty of the 12 First Nations of Wisconsin. Our land-grant university could not have been established or sustained if it were not for state and federally sponsored settler colonialism that dispossessed and displaced American Indian nations and communities across our state. We must now confront the outcomes of unjust land treaties and the harm caused by our university's past complicity with policies of cultural and physical genocide as we seek reconciliation with Indigenous nations and communities of Wisconsin. With a spirit of humility and openness, we pledge to do the hard work of reflection and truth-telling so that we can move forward in transformative healing. In June 2019, in partnership with the Ho-Chunk Nation, the university installed the Our Shared Future plaque, acknowledging the past atrocities faced by the Ho-Chunk while envisioning a hopeful shared future. This historic marker is meant to move us from ignorance to awareness, and it marks the beginning of an intentional effort to work towards a shared future with the Ho-Chunk people. Thank you. All right, so moving forward into a little bit about our campus. So sure, many of you have seen this map before, but here's a picture of our campus. You will see on this map, it looks large, it looks spread out, but it is actually third smallest acreage-wise in the Big Ten. And as we move forward, we're going to have some of our other tour guides. We're going to start with Lucia, talk a little bit about the city of Madison.
Hello. On this slide, we're going to talk a little bit about the city of Madison and how our students like to interact with the features that can be found over there. So State Street, as you all I'm sure know, is a pedestrian street lined with over 200 shops and stores, as well as 60 different restaurants and cafes, and with 20 of those 60 restaurants being coffee shops. The Dane County Farmers Market is also a major event that takes place on State Street every Saturday in the spring, summer, and fall months. Students and community members and faculty and everyone alike can go up and enjoy the beautiful fresh produce, flowers, and many other amenities offered at the farmers market by local agriculturalists. The Overshare Center is another great feature of State Street. It has 7 state-of-the-art performance spaces as well as 5 galleries. It has held performance of Broadway touring musicals, national and international touring artists, and also has 10 different residence companies and local artists. I definitely heard that a couple students a couple years ago got to see Hamilton touring there, which is a pretty amazing opportunity. The Capitol building provides an amazing space for students to get involved in political life here in Madison, especially since Madison is the capital of Wisconsin. We have a very unique opportunity for that political involvement. There are many internships that students take advantage of that can be help found through the political science department. A friend of mine this semester is actually a page in the Capitol building, which she's found to be a really great experience. The city of Madison is also located on an isthmus. We are one of only 2 cities in the entire United States to be located on the isthmus. You can try to guess, but I will tell you now, the other one is Seattle. But this awesome location provides us with these beautiful bodies of water that our students can take advantage of. On the slide in front of you, you can see some students taking part in some paddleboard yoga, which is just one of many fun things that can be found out on the lake. I'm now going to hand it off to Chelsea to talk about the brief overview of our campus history.
Thank you, Lucia. As she said, now I'll be talking a little bit about how our university is first started. So as pictured here, as you can see on your screen, this is the first Wisconsin Capitol that was built in Belmont, Wisconsin. So our university actually had a very humble beginning in 1838, where Wisconsin was still a territory. In 1838, the territorial legislation actually passed a law incorporating a university of the territory of Wisconsin. But our university didn't really take off until Wisconsin was granted statehood, which didn't happen until 1848. And in 1849, on February 5th, the first class actually met under the direction of Professor Sterling. So that's a very exciting event. So to this day, we still celebrate this event as our UW Founders Day. So on the next slide, you'll be seeing some, I would probably say the most iconic part of our campus, which is Bastion Hall, which lies right at the heart of our campus. And it's surrounded by some of the oldest buildings that we have here on campus. So if you see the picture on the right side of your screen, this is our North Hall. It was the first building on campus. It was built in 1851. Back then, it was an entire university. It was a dormitory where students slept and studied and ate and did everything together, essentially. But about 4 years after, we built another hall. We called it the South Hall, right across from the North Hall. It actually housed the first female students to ever get admitted to this university. And the first group of women to ever graduate from this university was in 1869. So that about 2 years ago, we actually just celebrated the 150th anniversary of women graduating from this university. And the picture that you see on the top center of your screen is our Bastion Hall. It is a third building on campus, but it is the first purely academic building. It still does have some lecture halls and smaller discussion classrooms. I actually recall taking a final exam just right here, right inside of Bastion Hall. But now it is more for administrative purposes. So you will find Dean of Students office in there, you'll find Chancellor's, Provost's office are in there. So sometimes we like to make a joke. We say to the students that you're in there either for a really good reason or a really bad one. And fingers crossed, we hope for the good one. So that's a little bit about the campus history of our university. So now I'll pass it back to Lucia, and she'll be talking a little bit about academic excellence and how that has continued all the way from since the first class of 17 students all the way to today, to a campus that's home to over 40,000 badgers.
Thank you, Chelsea. Yes, we have definitely grown over the years, and we now actually offer 9,204 courses with 232 academic majors and certificates. With all of those many options, though, we still have an average class size of only 31 students. Some of the highlights of our programs include that we are one of only 5 universities that support medicine, veterinary medicine, pharmacy, and law programs at the same university. We've been ranked 25th worldwide by the Center for World University Rankings, which is a real achievement. The School of Education is also ranked #1 among public schools of education, and one of the highlights of that program is the Impact 2030, which is going to be paying the equivalent of in-state tuition and licensing and testing fees for all of their teacher education students. In return, students are going to be working in Wisconsin pre-Ks and through 12th grade schools for 3 to 4 years after graduation. This is just one example of us utilizing the Wisconsin idea in our practices as students and learners. And we will be discussing the Wisconsin idea more later on, but this is just one example to keep in mind throughout the tour. The business school is also ranked #7 of public undergraduate business programs, and we have some amazing things that our graduates do after graduation. Of the Fortune 500 companies, 14 of their CEOs are UW-Madison alums, and we also are home to the Institute on Research on Poverty, which is the goal of which is to look into the causes and consequences of poverty and inequality in the United States. The School of Education, which I mentioned previously, is also home to a very important program, which is the American Indian Curriculum Services, which is led by Coordinator Oman Polar, and the AICS provides support for integrating American Indian Studies into pre-K through 16 education in the state of Wisconsin. And this is something that is very important to our university. So on the next slide, I'm going to talk a bit about research on campus. We are a research institution. Research is integral to our mission on campus, and students are encouraged to get involved in research at every level, including completing the research, analyzing research, working with professors and teaching assistants and graduate students on that research, as well as participating in the research themselves, which is a wonderful opportunity. Our students will often talk about how they get a couple of emails a week asking them to be involved in a study, whether that's actually physically going in to a research facility or just answering a survey online. But it's a great way for our students to get involved in research on campus as subjects and maybe even receive a little compensation, whether that's food or some money, two of college students' most favorite things in the world, in return. The Discovery Building is a really important part of our research facilities. So we are actually ranked 8th overall in research expenditures, 2nd in the Big Ten, and our research expenditures in 2019 actually were about $1.2 billion. So this is clearly a really important part of our university. Because it is such an important part of our university, the Discovery Building, home to a lot of our university research, the Discovery Building has been constructed to be a really great place on campus for students. So the Discovery Building is a little bit unique on our campus because it is both private and publicly funded research facility. And it's dedicated to helping the UW-Madison researchers, faculty, students all be able to cooperate, communicate, and coordinate their research together, because we truly do believe the best research comes from cooperation and through working together. We believe that all of the newest cures, the newest technological innovations, and every big new research discovery will come from collaboration and working together. So we want to encourage that, and that can be seen in many of the design features in our Discovery Building. Our Discovery Building is also many students' favorite place on campus. The first floor is a town forum that is open to all students. They have wonderful study spaces, green spaces with indoor greenery and trees, and also wonderful places to get food. So personally, I do love to study there, but that's just one of the wonderful ways that we've integrated research onto our campus. Chelsea's now going to be taking you over to the west side of campus to show off some of the other highly ranked facilities and schools that are not part of the undergraduate campus.
Thank you, Lucia. So now we are on the west side of campus. I would just want to take this time to highlight just a couple additional buildings that are really core to this part of the campus. One of them being a UW hospital, which is actually ranked #1 in the entire state of Wisconsin and ranked top 17 in the entire nation. The UW Kohl Cancer Center specializes in treatment for over 25 different cancers, including the pancreatic cancer, ovarian cancer, thyroid cancer, among some other cancers as well. And just being so close in proximity of UW Hospital definitely has provided a lot of really good, really awesome opportunities for students like me. Like I mentioned before, I'm a biochem major, so I'm actually on the pre-med track. And just a couple of summers ago, I actually had an opportunity to shadow a cardiothoracic surgeon just right here, right at UW Hospital. So definitely this has provided some really awesome opportunities that students like me who can take advantage of and really just engage on more hands-on activities. Alongside with UW Hospital, we also have some other buildings such as the School of Pharmacy, we have the School of Nursing, as well as School of Veterinary Medicine also in this area. The School of Pharmacy are located in the Rennenbaum Hall, which is actually named after the Wisconsin Governor, Oscar Rennenbaum. And it is a 7-story high facility containing some office areas, laboratory spaces, as well as cutting-edge technology in classrooms and lecture halls. The School of Nursing also is a really amazing facility, and they actually is home to a simulated care environment, which contains 4 different hospital rooms, a nursing station, a clinic, as well as a home environment that really allows students to simulate real care situations. So these are definitely some really awesome, amazing spaces for students to utilize here, that if they're interested to really, applying what they've learned in classroom and really applying that knowledge to engage more hands-on activity to really apply that. So up next, Lucia will be taking over again and talking about some of the beautiful greenery area that we have surrounding our campus.
Thank you so much, Chelsea. So in addition to being home to a beautiful city, UW-Madison's campus is right next to and is among some amazing natural resources and areas. So one of these, which you can see on the screen in front of you, is our Lakeshore Path. You can see at the bottom right-hand side of your screen. So the Lakeshore Path is, as well as Picnic Point, is part of the Lakeshore Nature Preserve. It's a beautiful place to run. It's one of my personal favorite places to go out for a run. It's also awesome for walking and biking, and has beautiful bike paths. You can run all the way down to Picnic Point, which has beautiful views of downtown Madison. During the winter, a carnival, which the Hoofers, our outdoor club, puts on, we actually do have guided walks out there over the ice to a bonfire out on Picnic Point, which is a really beautiful experience. Earthworks is another important part of the area that our campus occupies. We still don't fully understand the cultural meaning of the effigy mounds, though we do understand that they were very important ceremonial burial sites. Madison was once home to around 1,500 earthworks, but many were unfortunately destroyed in the building of the city of Madison and UW-Madison, and only 40 remain here today. Effigy mounds are found in 3 common types: birds, which represent the upper world, land creatures representing the middle world, and long-tailed panthers or water spirits representing the lower world. I was really fortunate enough to go on a effigy mounds walk at the UW Arboretum, which I will be touching on in a moment. But at the UW Arboreum, we got to go see some of the notable earthworks that are still standing today, and learn about the history. And it was a really wonderful and eye-opening experience, something that I was able to participate in because of a class that I was taking here at UW. So that's one way that we want to ensure that our students are educated on the burial sites that are still around our city of Madison. That leads me right into the Arboretum. So the Arboretum for the university was first proposed by landscape architecture John Nolan in his 1911 report, Madison, a Model City. The idea is to create a safe space within a city for natural life and ecosystems that are native to Wisconsin. There are over 17 miles of trails available for people to use. I personally am a Nordic skier and went Nordic skiing out in the Arboretum just a couple weeks ago, and we still had some snow on the ground. It's really beautiful and a little surreal to drive just about 7 minutes outside of the city and find yourself in a beautiful natural space. We also have the Tree of Peace located on Observatory Hill behind Nancy Nicholas Hall. This is known as the Tree of Peace to the Ho-Chunk people and was planted in 1988 as a result of fishing spear rights conflict. Native Americans used trees as messengers and guides before UW's campus was on this land. And the bur oak trees used to cover the campus, but most were unfortunately cut down and the land was used for farming and then later for the construction of the campus. The tree represents peace and teamwork. With that, I'm now going to hand it back over to Chelsea to walk us down through Picnic Point out to our favorite and iconic Memorial Union.
Yeah, welcome to Memorial Union. So this is the second oldest student union in the entire country, and it was founded in 1907. What's really unique about Memorial Union that's really near and dear to my heart is that it's right connected with the iconic Memorial Union Terrace. As you can see on the picture on your screen, during warmer month, we actually set up different chairs of different colors representing just agricultural icons in the state. So this is a way to kind of pay homage to the Wisconsin farmer tradition as well as history. So students really love to utilize this outdoor space on the lake. So we have actually our oldest and our largest student organizations called Hoofers. They are our outdoor UW club, so they do a lot of fun outdoor activities such as mountaineering, scuba diving, hiking, etc. But you can, as students, we can also rent out equipment and do something fun on the lake, such as kayak, canoes or paddle boards, etc. So a couple summers ago, I actually went kayaking for the first time in my life ever on Lake Mendota. So that was super, super fun. Additionally, Memorial Union Terrace is also home to a lot of events that they host, such as during summer month, they have open mic night every Wednesday night. They will show movie every Monday. So it's a really great way to just grab some ice cream and grab popcorn, etc. Just sit on the terrace and relax a little bit with your friends. Right next to Memorial Union is this red castle looking building that we call the Red Gym. It is a hub for student services and aiming to support all students regardless of their identities. And some of the examples include, we have the Multicultural Student Center, the Gender and Sexuality Campus Center, Morgan Center for Public Service, International Student Services, as well as International Academic Programs, or what we usually call it the Study Abroad Office. Red Gym is kind of embodies what we will be talking a little bit. Lucia will be talking, going more in depth about this, but what we call Wisconsin idea, which is this idea of really putting what we've learned inside of classroom and applying into a broader world, into a broader context, and really making an impact and making a difference in the world. And students can do this by engaging in public service, by going out to communities around Madison, engaging in volunteering, or by studying abroad, by going to a different country and really gaining some cross-cultural experience. So there's a lot of ways for students, a lot of opportunity for students to engage in activities such as this. So up next, Lucia will be taking us to Chazen Museum of Art and then talking about arts at UW.
Thank you, Chelsea. Yes, so we're headed over to the Chazen Museum of Art to discuss arts on campus. So the Chazen is one of the features on campus that I find to be incredibly unique and that we are so lucky to have on our campus. It's home to the Chazen Museum is home to the second largest collection of art in Wisconsin with over 20,000 works. Some of its oldest works date back to 2300 BC. So as I mentioned before, I'm a classical humanities major, so a lot of my classes talk about the civilizations of antiquity. One of my courses, which was exclusively about art and archaeology in ancient Rome, we actually discussed and studied some pieces that are within the Chazen Museum, which was an incredible experience to get to go see the pieces that we've been studying. The Chazen also has some works of amazing more modern artists, as well as one of my second favorite artist of all time, Alexander Calder. I walked in the museum with a couple friends and was stunned to see some of Calder's mobiles, which are some of my favorite pieces of art in the entire world. So personally, I find it's an amazing museum, and we're all really lucky to be able to have access to that. The Hamill Music Center is another state-of-the-art feature of our campus. It was opened in 2019 and it was a $55.8 million project funded all by private donors. It was designed after the cycle of Wisconsin's state tree, the sugar maple. And it is part of the Mead-Witter School of Music. They are home to acoustic practice spaces, as well as state-of-the-art recording technology for students and professors to use. They also have a concert hall that seats 660 people and a recital hall. The Division of the Arts is another important feature of the Arts Division on our campus. It is a gateway to the arts at UW-Madison. They support and promote various art programs and disciplines for students to be involved in. They became an independent division in July 2015. On this next slide, we're going to talk about student involvement in the arts. So you'll be able to see on the next slide that there are pictures of student involvement in the arts. And these are just a couple different examples of the student organizations and groups revolving around the arts at UW-Madison. There are a variety of singing groups on campus, including a cappella groups, like two of them pictured here, which are the Mad Hatters and Redefined. The Mad Hatters are a men's a cappella group, which was founded in 1997, and it is home to a group of men that make music while also bringing a feeling of fun to the community. Redefined is another a cappella group on our campus, and there are many more to choose from, some of whom find a common identity, or some that just want to have fun. There are some other groups featured on this slide, including Wisconsin School of Bhangra, the Chi Sigma Tau National Fraternity, and the University Gospel Choir. So the Wisconsin School of Bhangra, the group tries to incorporate some traditional aspects of Bhangra, which is a traditional upbeat folk dance of northern India, while also adding Western influences into their dances. It was founded in 2006 and really allows their group members to appreciate the dance style as well as expressing themselves simultaneously. The University Gospel Choir is aiming to be a minister to campus, community, and churches. While religiously affiliated, they also welcome students of all faiths. And as someone who sang gospel in high school and is not Christian, I find that this is an awesome thing, and I really wish that I could go to their concert this year, if only it was in person. But the marching band is another awesome feature of the arts at UW and probably a bright spot for many people's game days because it is just so much fun. Founded in 1885 to accompany the University Military Battalion, the marching band's current director of athletics, the band is Cory Booker. They perform at a variety of home sporting events, and one example of this is the fifth quarter after football games. So next, Chelsea's going to be taking us over to Camp Randall, speaking of Camp Randall, as well as the Kohl Center to talk about athletics and the many ways that students stay active on our campus.
Thank you, Lucia. So athletics is absolutely one of my favorite topics to talk about, just because I think it really embodies what we call Badger spirit, and that's what gets me really excited about our university. So the athletic department recently just approved a campaign initiated by the current as well as former student athletes, and the student athlete will wear a black UW crest on their jersey as a step toward creating a more inclusive environment for all UW students. So this is a picture of the UW Black Crest that you see on the screen. The picture right below it is our Camp Randall Stadium. It is home to our football team. It actually houses about 81,000 fans. So when the stadium is completely packed with fans, it actually itself becomes the 5th largest city in the entire state of Wisconsin. And that's absolutely one of my favorite fun facts about that stadium. It's also home to what we call UW tradition, what we call jump around. So this is between the 3rd and the 4th quarter. So when everybody just hold up 4 fingers, they're gonna start of the 4th quarter and everyone just jump around as the House of Pain jump around song come blasting through the loudspeakers. And when everybody does that, it actually registers on our Richter scale as a small tremor. So this just shows how much pride we truly for our school here, as our badge of pride literally shakes the earth. Yeah, and then alongside with Camp Randall Stadium, we also have the Kohl Center, which is home to our men's hockey as well as men's and women's basketball team, as well as the LeBron Arena, as you can see here by the picture, which is home to our women's hockey team. So on the next slide, you see some other facilities that we have, such as the field house, which is home to our women's volleyball team, as well as men's wrestling team. We also have the Nelson Tennis Stadium, which is home to our men's and women's tennis team. We have the McLean Track and Soccer Complex, home to our men's and women's soccer team, as well as track and field teams. As well as the last one, we have the Goodman Softball Complex, home to our women's softball team. So alongside of these training facilities for our athletes, we also have some of the amazing state-of-art recreation facilities that you see just in a second on the next slide. So on the lower right corner, you see the Shell, which is located right next to Camp Randall. The Shell is an amazing facility. It has cardio equipment, as well as indoor track, as well as some cardio and equipment, as well as some fitness equipment, etc. And it also has an indoor ice rink. Right across from the Shell, or on the other side of the campus, we have the Nicholas Recreation Center. The NIC actually opened up really recently this past school year, so it is brand new. It is very exciting. It contains 8 full-size basketball courts, 5 different fitness studios, as well as 29 pool lanes with a diving well. So it's an amazing facility for students to use. I've been to the NIC so many times. I cannot tell you how much I truly love it there. Really great way for Badgers to stay active on campus. The natatorium, currently located in Lakeshore area, is currently undergoing renovation, and it will reopen in 2023. So next, Lucia will be taking us over to Alumni Park to talk about the Wisconsin Idea and the Vast Alumni Network. But before that, I also want to remind you that I know that we did cover a lot of grounds. So if you do have any questions, feel free to put it in the Q&A session, and we have some other tour guides who are really would love to answer those questions for you, particularly Lucia.
Awesome, thank you so much, Chelsea. So at this stop, I want to first discuss Alumni Park, which opened in 2017. And it's free and open to the public every day of the year, and it's managed by the Wisconsin Alumni Association. The park was built to honor UW's alumni and the amazing things that they have gone on to do after leaving our university. There are many exhibits of museum quality that are meant to show the different achievements and accomplishments of our alums. One of the most important things that the park highlights is the Wisconsin Idea. So the Wisconsin idea is is a guiding principle of our university, and what it means is that everything that our students learn in the classroom on our campus should be taken to help better the community of Madison, as well as then taken out to help better the community of Wisconsin, the United States, and eventually the world. So what this really means is that we want to use everything that we learn here, all of our education, in order to help people and better the lives of others. So it's really a service-driven guiding principle. And one example of the Wisconsin idea in action is our strong tradition of producing Peace Corps volunteers. And we've actually been #1 in the past 4 years for the number of volunteers. So the park is really meant to highlight both the physical achievements of our alums in terms of like accomplishments and discoveries, but also that guiding principle that's just can be felt that's ever present on our university. I'm now going to hand it back over to Sophie to wrap up the tour and give out some information about the many ways to reach us if you have any other questions.
All right, thank you so much, Lucia and Chelsea. You both did a wonderful job. As you can see, things are constantly evolving on our campus within and outside of the classroom. Like Wisconsin's state motto, Forward, the university is committed to addressing the changing needs of students, faculty, and staff through constructing new state-of-the-art facilities, decreasing the financial burden of students, and healing the wounds of the past. We hope that you'll be able to visit our campus in the future and see in person all the sights, old and new, that make our city and campus so unique. If you have any other questions at all, feel free to drop them in the Q&A feature and we can have some of our tour guides answer them. But if not, we just want to say thank you again for coming along with us on our virtual UW-Madison campus tour. We really appreciate it, and as always, on Wisconsin.
Excellent. So we'll open it up to questions now. People have questions, they can send them in the Q&A or through the chat function. What an amazing tour that was. I mean, I learned 14 Fortune 500 CEOs and the 4 years in a row of the most Peace Corps volunteers and Go Peace Corps volunteers. That would be me. I'm an RPTV, so it's really exciting. So send your questions into the Q&A. I will ask the first question live to the team. How many people normally go through tours a year in a normal year, non-COVID year?
That's a good question. Team, if you want to turn your cameras on, go ahead and do so. But I can take this one. I don't know the number of people, but we give tours every single day, Mondays through Saturday, honestly, every day on a normal year. Our busiest days will have between 200 and 300 guests come each day. And slower times of year, it might be closer to 50 to 100 guests a day. But when we are in person and out on the route, you will see a lot of people wearing red. And we do serve a lot of guests every single year. Looks like we have a question in the chat. Is there a way to utilize the NIC if you are not a student or alumni? That's a really good question. Chelsea, do you know?
Yeah, that is a great question. I'm actually trying to look it up at the same time, just making sure that I have the right answer.
I think I have a little bit of an answer. I think due to COVID precautions right now, that is not an option because you're required to have a safer badger, which is an app that we use to keep ourselves accountable for COVID testing. So you need to prove that you have had a recent negative test to enter the NIC. But I know that faculty can use the space. And previously, it was an option for community members to also get a yearly membership and join fitness classes. I know I've taken fitness classes before, previously when they were at the natatorium, and you would see community members come in for class. So I think it'll be an option in the future. Great question. It's a really beautiful space.
Oh, we see,
and there's the statistic.
See that, Sophie? There's an answer to how many people took part in the.
Yes, 48,000 people in 2019.
That's 1/5 of all of Madison went on a tour, basically, the equivalent of. That's all the employees of downtown Madison, 50,000 employees in downtown that all took the tour. That's pretty cool. Good job. That's amazing. All right, while we wait for questions, if you have more questions, send them through the Q&A. My favorite question of any UW person is, what is your favorite Babcock ice cream flavor?
Go ahead, Lucia, you go first.
Okay, sounds good. I lived in the residence halls last year, and so in addition to going over to Memorial Union to go to Daily Scoop, they also had some Babcock ice cream in the cafeteria very close to me, so very dangerous. But I think my favorite combination that I think very cleverly figured out was the key lime pie and strawberry, which I thought together was just like masterful. But you really can't go wrong.
Yeah, I love. I think that most people didn't know, but actually was orange custard chocolate chip. It's a really amazing combination. It's a really amazing. Did you guys hear me? Okay.
It broke up a little bit,
It's,
but we can hear you now.
Okay, yeah, I just got a notification that my internet connection was unstable, but yeah, orange custard chocolate chip is a really amazing combination of orange flavor and then chocolate. So.
And then I would have to say my favorite was a summer 2019 flavor. It was called Berry Proud Parent. It was like a vanilla base with a whole bunch of different berries in it, and some chocolate flakes. Great flavor. I spent a lot of evenings in summer of 2019, which was like my summer in Madison, sitting out on the terrace, eating way too much Babcock ice cream that summer, but don't regret it one bit. Looks like we have another question in the chat. Oh, this is a great one. Okay, so what are the most frequent questions you get from visiting prospective students, especially with respect to Madison as a city and or the downtown? Dana, do you want to answer this one?
Oh, sure. Hello, everyone. I'm back from the underground answering questions. I would say that most students that I speak to are coming from either one of two categories. Either they already live in a large city and they want to know what Madison has to offer that their home city doesn't offer, or they come from small towns and they want to understand what it is about living in the city of Madison that is going to still make them feel comfortable, like they have small spaces, but also make them give them new opportunities, as we've heard about on our tour. So I have different answers for both of those. One of them, I really like to differentiate Madison from other cities by describing it as a really good juxtaposition between urban space and natural space. I don't think you see that in a lot of cities. And so a lot of students that come from big city backgrounds themselves don't have those experiences where they can in the same day go downtown, but also potentially kayak on a lake. So they like that response. And then that same type of response works well for people that are coming from smaller towns, because there are places in Madison that you can get away from what feels like the hustle and bustle of that urban feel, and they can find spaces to relax. So I think that answer works well for both groups of students.
Yeah, that's a great response. Another thing that I'll add is a question that I get a lot is like, so where is campus and where is the city? Because it is so integrated, especially as you're like walking down University Ave, you're walking, past the Botany Gardens, and all of a sudden, like, you keep walking one block further and it's Fresh Market, and it's all of, the great things that East Campus Mall has to offer. So it's just like the city and the university are so intertwined. And like Dana said, I think that makes us really unique as a campus, and also it just provides so many additional opportunities for people who go to school here. Anyone else want to share? Otherwise, we can get the next question. The next one is, I'll give this one to Mary. Mary, what is your favorite building? And then what is your favorite outdoor space on campus?
Yeah, that's a really good question. As I mentioned earlier, I'm an economics and international studies majors. So both of my major departments are actually housed within buildings that are across from each other. So my favorite building on campus has to be the Sewell Social Sciences building, which is kind of characterized behind Bastion Hill. So kind of like on the north side of our campus, right on the lake area. And there's a really big clock tower that you can see from there. So that's probably my favorite building. I like either just going into some of the libraries inside of that building or just like sitting outside. And then my favorite outdoor space on campus would probably have to be just sitting on Bascom Hill. I really like how you can see just like the general area, but you can see all downtown Madison and then the Capitol. So that's a really good place to kind of do some homework or just hang out with your friends as well.
Chelsea, do you want to share?
Yeah, for sure. I think actually Lucia mentioned this in the tour, but I think one of my absolute favorite places to be on campus is actually Wisconsin Institute for Discovery, because I think it's just really awesome studying spaces, all really awesome greenery space too, especially like I like to go in there in the winter because it just feels like I'm outside studying. Yeah, and then it's also a really awesome research facility. Like I think it just has this like really awesome like vibe when you go in there. But yeah, in terms of outdoor spaces, I think I think I would have to say that one of my favorite outdoor spaces is Picnic Point. Because yeah, like I love personally, I'm a very active person, so I love to going out for a run all the way to Picnic Point, or having bonfire with my friends, roasting marshmallow and making s'mores, etc. So that's I would say my favorite outdoors.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, everyone, again, for being here with us today and getting to see our tour. We are going to be dropping a few additional resources in the chat, as well as a link for our survey. We love guest feedback and getting to kind of hear what you liked and what you maybe didn't like so much about our virtual experience. We're always hoping to grow and develop our programming, as we have been virtual now since last March. We've been virtual for a full year now, and we've come a long way as a team. But thank you again, everyone. And yep, there's the post-event survey just got posted in the chat. So please fill that out if you have a minute. Thank you.
Well, Sophie, Lucia, Chelsea, Dana, and Mary, thank you guys so much. Our future is in good hands. I think there's 5 of you, and there were at least 20 majors amongst all of you. I only had 1 major, so I don't even know, maybe I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing, but I'm glad you guys are taking advantage of the great UW campus right in the heart of downtown. Thank you so much for the wonderful tour today. I learned a tremendous amount, and I'm someone that gives tours myself of downtown. So thank you for the information. I want to say a huge thank you again to our sponsors, our series sponsors, Hush, Blackwell, and Thompson Investment Management, and our major series sponsor, JP Cullen, who literally builds a huge amount of campus, including the exciting new natatorium project on campus. Can't wait to see that in a few years. Thank you all for joining us. We hope you see you soon at another DMI event. Have a great day, stay healthy, and enjoy the weekend. We'll talk to you soon, and on Wisconsin.